I actually became a Muslim and took my Shahada is a crazy story that I don't think I've ever shared on TikTok. So I essentially took my Shahada twice. I took it once and then I had an actual ceremony like a week and a half later. So the first time I was actually out shopping in the supermarket with my husband and my 2 young children, and I got a phone call from the imam. So I'd asked for his number from a friend who was a Muslim because I had some questions before I took that step in taking my Shahada that I just wanted answering. And the biggest one was like, oh, hey, do I have to have read the entire Quran before I become a Muslim? And he was like, no, you don't, answering all my questions, basically explaining like the beliefs of an Islam, of being Muslim in Islam comes first. And then it comes like the practicing, learning about Islam and all of this, because obviously you can't learn everything overnight. And he was like, well, why don't you take your Shahada? And I was like, okay, yeah, let's arrange it. And he was like, well, you don't know what's going to happen. So like, why don't you just take it like right now on the phone? I was like, okay. So I was literally stood in the middle of the supermarket. Bear in mind, it's a Saturday morning, so it is packed. Like, there is everybody everywhere. And like, it's a halal supermarket, so like 90% of the people in there are Muslims. Like, there's women wearing the hijab, you can visually tell like it's the Muslim community. So I'm just stood there on the phone. My husband's looking at me like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm taking my Shahada. And he was like, oh, okay. My toddler she's literally stood on, like, sat in the pram at this point. She doesn't want to, we've just got back from holiday. She's not happy that she's not in the sun anymore. So she's like kicking up a fuss. My baby, who is 6 months old, he's 6 months old, 7 months old at the time. He's just not happy because he's like, why am I in a supermarket when I want to be crawling around? Because he'd recently discovered that. And I'm stood there taking my Shahada, like, and I'm, listening to the imam, I'm making the declaration of the faith saying, Ashhadu wa la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. And I'm seeing, like, the other people who are doing shopping, they're looking at me, and they're like, and I can see that they can recognise what's happening, and they're, like, smiling, and I'm, like, excited, like, I'm jumping, like, getting, like doing my little tippy-tappies with my toes. And literally the second I finish saying, wa rasuluh, after the imam, my toddler stands up from the pram, screaming her nuts off at this point. And my husband's like playing with her, trying to get her to calm down while I'm doing this. Stands up from the pram, and balanced on the handles was our shopping basket. As she stood up, a watermelon that was balanced on the hood of the pram has fallen onto a 30-pack of eggs. And obviously your first thought is, oh my gosh, these eggs are going to be smashed. I'm watching this happen while I'm talking to the imam. And he's like, oh, congratulations, you're now a Muslim. And I'm like, yay, great. I'm pretty sure my daughter's just broken a whole carton of eggs. And he was like, oh. So we finish up the call. And like, obviously it's just pure hectic in this moment because there's loads of people around. My toddler's like, being a toddler, she doesn't want to be in the pram anymore. She wants to be out. And me and my husband were both looking at this carton of eggs like, we still need to buy these eggs because we need eggs at home, but now we're going to have to buy these ones because they're broken. I was like, no, we'll just take these. It's fine. We'll see if we can salvage any of them because we just needed to get out of the shop. So we get out of the shop. We go into our car. As we're packing everything away, I just had to pick up this carton of eggs and look at them. And I'm like, oh, let's see. Are there any salvageable? Not a single egg was broken. So my toddler screaming, messing about because she wanted to get out of the pram, causing a watermelon to fall on a full carton of eggs, like a full watermelon and a full carton of eggs, and not a single one was broken while I was taking my Shahada and declaration of faith. If you can't tell me that's divine intervention, I don't know what is.